A guy goes to the post office to apply for a job. The interviewer asks him, "Are you allergic to anything?" He replies, "Yes, caffeine. I can't drink coffee." "Okay, have you ever been in the military service?" "Yes," he says. "I was in Afghanistan for one tour." The interviewer says, "That will give you 5 extra points toward employment." Then he asks, "Are you disabled in any way?" The guy says, "Yes. A bomb exploded near me and I lost both my balls." The interviewer grimaces and then says, "Okay, you've got enough points for me to hire you right now. Our normal hours are from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can start tomorrow at 10 a.m. and plan on starting at 10 a.m. every day." The guy is puzzled and asks, "If the work hours are from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., why don't you want me here until 10 a.m.? "This is a government job," the interviewer says. "For the first 2 hours, we just stand around drinking coffee and in our balls. So no point in your coming in for that." 1. A lawyer boards a plane and takes his seat in business class. A few moments later, 2 more men wander in and sit next to him. They get to chatting and he discovers they are doctors. After a few moments, one of the doctors comments that he needs a drink. "It's okay, I'll get it for you," says the lawyer and gets up. The doctors notice he has taken his shoes off. One of them gives the other a sneaky look, reaches into his briefcase and pulls out a thumbtack that he quickly sticks in the lawyer's shoe. The lawyer returns with a highball and gives it to the doctor. The 2 doctors wait to see if he'll put his shoes back on. After a few more minutes, the second doctor starts to get up and says he too wants a drink. "No problem, allow me," says the lawyer, and again walks to the back of the plane. The second doctor pulls out a thumbtack and sticks it into the other shoe. Again, the lawyer returns, hands over the drink, then sits down. Eventually, the pilot comes over the PA saying they are preparing to land. The doctors, giddy with anticipation, watch as the lawyer closes his laptop, pushes up his tray, and starts to pack up his stuff. Finally, he slips his feet into his shoes and immediately feels the sharp pain from the thumbtacks. He looks at the doctors disappointed. How long must this go on, this pettiness between our professions? How long must we fight and try to humiliate one another? Why can't we just get along instead of putting thumbtacks in each other's shoes or in each other's drinks? 2. A 95-year-old man and his 94-year-old wife see a lawyer about a divorce. The lawyer asks them when they got married. "I was 19, says the man. "That means you've been married for 75 years at least." The lawyer points out, "Yes, and all of its misery," says the woman. "Really? When did you start to regret the marriage?" "Almost immediately," says the man. "I hated her after about 2 years, and every year it gets worse. Everything about her is obnoxious and irritating." "Oh Lord," says the woman, "I lasted 3 years, but after that tolerating him in any way has been a huge problem. He has awful habits and treats me like trash." The lawyer thinks for a moment. "Well, I can help you to get divorced. But why did you wait so long to apply for one if you've hated each other the whole time?" She says, "We were waiting for the children to die." 3. A lawyer runs a stop sign and gets pulled over by a policeman. Cop says, "License and registration, please." The lawyer says, "What for?" Cop says, "You didn't come to a complete stop at the stop sign." The lawyer says, "I slowed down and no one was coming." Cop says, "You still didn't come to a complete stop. License and registration, please." The lawyer says, What's the difference? Cop says, the difference is you have to come to a complete stop. License and registration, please. The lawyer says, if you can show me the difference between slow down and stop, I'll give you my license and registration. Cop says, exit your vehicle, sir. At this point, the cop takes out his nightstick and starts beating the ever-loving shite out of the lawyer and says, do you want me to stop or just slow down? 4. A local charity realized that it had never received a donation from the town's most successful lawyer. The volunteers in charge of contributions called him to persuade him to contribute. Our research shows that out of a yearly income of more than $600,000, you give not a penny to charity. Wouldn't you like to give back to the community in some way? The lawyer thought about it for a minute and replied, first, did your research also show that my mother is dying after a long illness and has medical bills that are several times her annual income? Embarrassed, the volunteer mumbled, no. Second, that my brother, a disabled veteran, is blind and confined to a wheelchair. The stricken volunteer began to stammer out an apology but was cut off. Third, that my sister's husband died in a horrific traffic accident, the lawyer's voice rising in indignation, leaving her penniless with 3 children. The humiliated volunteer, completely beaten, said simply, I had no idea. On a roll, the lawyer cut him off once again. And I don't give them any goddamn money, so why should I give any to you? 5. 4 buddies caught up for coffee, many years after high school, each bragging to the other how successful and wealthy they've become. The first guy said, see that bank building across the street? I am going to buy it within the next 6 months. The second guy then said, see that hotel building next to the bank? I am going to buy it within the next month. Not wanting to lose out, the third guy quickly said, see that shopping complex next to the hotel? I am going to buy that next week. They then look expectantly at the fourth guy, who simply smiled and took one long sip of his coffee before muttering the words, I'm not selling. 6. A truck driver stopped at a roadside diner for lunch and ordered a cheeseburger, coffee, and a slice of apple pie. As he was about to eat, 3 bikers walked in. One grabbed the trucker's cheeseburger and took a huge bite from it. The second one drank the trucker's coffee, and the third wolfed down his apple pie. The truck driver didn't say a word as he paid the waitress and left. As the waitress walked up, one of the motorcyclists growled, he ain't much of a man, is he? He's not much of a driver either, the waitress replied. He just backed his 18-wheeler over 3 motorcycles. 7. A lawyer had just bought a fancy new car and was eager to show it off to his colleagues when an 18-wheeler came out of nowhere and took off the driver's side door with him standing right there. No! He screamed, because he knew that no matter how good a mechanic tried to fix it, it would never be the same. Finally, a cop came by, and the lawyer ran up to him yelling, my Bentley door was just ruined by some foolish driver. You're a lawyer, aren't you? Asked the policeman. Yes, I am. But what does that have to do with my car? The lawyer asked. Ha! You lawyers are so materialistic. All you care about is your possessions. I bet you didn't even notice that your left arm is missing, did you? The cop said. The lawyer looked down at his side and exclaimed, my Rolex! 8. A woman goes into a tattoo parlor and tells the tattoo artist that she wants a tattoo of a turkey on her right thigh right. She also wants him to put Happy Thanksgiving under the turkey. So the guy does it and it comes out looking really good. The woman then instructs him to put a Santa Claus with Merry Christmas up on her left thigh. So the guy does it, and it comes out looking good too. As the woman is getting dressed to leave, the tattoo artist says, "If you don't mind, could you tell me why you had me put such unusual tattoos on your thighs?" She says, "I'm sick and tired of my husband complaining all the time that there's nothing good to eat between Thanksgiving and Christmas." 9. A lawyer, Jones, is questioning his witness, Smith, during a murder trial. Jones: "Mr. Smith, can you tell us what the deceased said before he died?" Smith: "Yes, I can. He said, 'Judge, now hold on a minute. I'm not sure if it could be considered hearsay if I allowed Mr. Smith to continue.' This led to a long argument between both lawyers and the judge regarding the admissibility of Smith's testimony. After a couple of hours of deliberation, the judge calls for a recess while he consults his legal books. It takes the judge several hours to search through his legal text, so much so that the court gets adjourned for the day. Unfortunately, this exchange happened on a Friday, with Monday being a public holiday. On Tuesday, everyone reconvenes in the courtroom, where the judge rules that Smith's testimony will be admissible. Jones proceeds to begin questioning Smith again. Jones: "Mr. Smith, can you tell us what the deceased said before he died?" Smith: "Yes, I can. He said, 'Ugh,' and died." 10. A guy walks into a Starbucks and says to the barista, "If I make you laugh, I get free coffee." The barista, feeling generous, says, "Sure, if you make me laugh, your coffee's on me." The guy says, "Okay, this one's hilarious. What did Timmy want for his birthday?" The barista says, "I don't know. What did he want?" Parents. There was dead silence from the barista. The guy says, "What did Timmy get for Christmas?" The barista says, "I don't know. Tell me." Cancer. There was dead silence yet again from the barista. "Okay, fine. I guess we have different tastes. I'll pay for the coffee myself." The guy said, "Sure thing. May I take your order and your name?" "I'm Timmy, and I'll have a cappuccino." 11. A lawyer was late for an appointment at his office and decided to run a stop sign. As luck would have it, a farmer was proceeding through on his tractor at that very moment, and there was a tremendous crash. Fortunately, no one was hurt. The lawyer decided to go on the offense and jumped out of his car. "You idiot!" he yelled. "Why weren't you paying attention? Now I'm gonna be late for my appointment. You better believe you're gonna regret this day." The farmer calmly surveyed the scene. "Look, young fella, you're all worked up. Neither one of us is hurt. It's just our rides that are a little banged up," he said. Then he reached into his pocket, pulled out a hip flask and offered it to the lawyer. "Here, why don't you take a slug of this whiskey? It'll help you calm down." After a moment, the lawyer accepted and took a deep drink. A bit later, he tipped up the flask and took another swig. Then he returned it to the farmer, who closed the flask and put it away. "Don't you want any yourself?" asked the lawyer. "Not just yet," answered the farmer. "I'll wait until after the police leave." 12. A woman has a serious accident and ends up in the hospital undergoing surgery. Her husband waits in the waiting room, distraught, when several hours later, the surgeon exits the operating room and approaches him. "Hello, the surgery went well. Unfortunately, the recovery will be very long. First, she'll need years of physical therapy, costing $2,000 per month." The husband starts to get worried. Then she'll likely need more surgeries in the future, but they won't be covered by insurance and could amount to $100,000 to $150,000. The man starts to break into a cold sweat. And in reality, she'll need a high-quality wheelchair and a suitable vehicle for transporting the disabled. But with $30,000, you should manage. The husband, deeply concerned about the money, looks desperate. The doctor then pats him on the back and says, "Don't worry, dude, I was just kidding. She's dead."